In this video, I'm going to share with you and introduce you to 21 double dies that you can find in Lincoln cents that are brown. Not the red, but brown, usually what you'll find in circulation. And we're going to cover the dates from 1959 all the way up to 2006. So before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about my CoinHelpU community. Our CoinHelpU community is here. I don't personally attribute mint errors or varieties, and I don't help in emails. But I do help over here on CoinHelpU community. I come over here in my spare time and I help people out. I can't help you in the comments of the videos, so you really have to pay attention to this video or come over here to CoinHelpU community, post one image front and back of your coin, and ask your question. And then we'll be glad to help you out, give you examples or resources. Another thing, when you're watching this video, get your notepad out. Write down the date and write down the actual number for each one of these double dies, like FS101 or .34, whatever it might be, because that's the only one you want to be looking for. So you have to pay attention to the details here. I also want you to pay attention to the grade of each one of these, because the grade makes the value, even though the double die gives it a value above and beyond the actual grade, but the grade is important as well. So I'm going to show you graded coin values, because if you're going to send any of these off, then you're going to send them to PCGS or NGC. So I'm going to use PCGS. These are the most well-known and popular. So let's get started. Here is a place to look up some of these to see better images or to help identify them. It's Coneca Variety Vista, and you can see the URL here. Then you have coppercoins.com. You go to the die variety search, and then you have Wexler's doubledie.com, and he has these double die listings right here. So those are the three places you can go to help narrow down what you might or might not have, or to even look at more that haven't included in this video. There's more double dies than these. So the first one, and like I said, brown. And brown means the coin has no luster from, let's say, as far as uncirculated luster, where a red cent would be an example right here. And brown's worth less than red. And this is what the red would look like. They just call it red as a generic term. And then you have red brown. So red brown's worth less than red, and brown's worth less than red brown. So anyways, looking at this one, this is a 1964, and it's a DDR, and remember, FS80207. There might be more than one for 64, so you want to make sure this is the one you're looking for. And when you look at the values in AU, 10 bucks. It's not worth a whole lot, but like I said, we're looking at 21 that are listed here that are the most well-known that I would look for. Here is a 1970S small date brown, and it's in 62, $15. Not worth a whole lot, and even in 64 plus. But you can look at the red example here to give you an example of what it looks like, and also see the values in the higher grades. Okay, like 65 is worth 90. They're not really worth a whole lot as far as sending them off, but you can sell these raw if you attribute them, if you have them attributed properly, and you would want an expert to do that for you. And Coneca, some of those men there will actually accept submissions, and also Paul on my CoinHelpU community, he will accept submissions as well and help you attribute. Some of these just have to be attributed in hand. Some people can't take good enough pictures. 1963 D. This is the FS101. It's the 025.8. That's very important here. So looking at the values and circulated, 15 bucks. You can look at the red values if you want to, if you find one in a roll, and they are worth a little bit more. So here you go, 65, 110. Most rolls are going to have coins from mint state 60 up to 63. You might find a 64 and a 65 in a roll, and if you're really, really lucky, maybe a little higher grade than a 65. But it's really difficult to get that grade, 67 or 66. Here's a 1960 D over D, which is actually a small date over a large date. And it's a double die FS101. Everybody kind of knows this one. It's kind of popular. But in circulated grades, it's not worth a whole lot. But it is if you go to red, brown, or red. And like I said, this is PCGS price guide. You can come over here and go to each date. It has a plus sign that you can just click on it. 1984 double die obverse. This one here is worth about 20 bucks in AU, AU 50, $20. And this one is what everybody calls the double ear. Now, it's real important to use the red example over here to learn exactly what it looks like, because it's actually an ear coming off the ear. A lot of people get this, that mistake it for a contact mark. I actually did a video on doubled ears. You know, to check that out, and maybe I'll put a link down in the description, but you can go to my channel and check it out, because I list all of them and I show you how to identify them, and I give you some examples of contact marks that make it look like it's double when it's not. Another 1964. Now this one here is the FS 801-26, okay, and it's the double die reverse. And this one here in AU, basically $50. Then you have the 2006 FS 101, and I included this one in red brown because you can still find these in circulation, and they don't have to be red to be worth something, but they do have to be uncirculated for the most part. But you can still find, like I said, a 60, and maybe you'll find a red example, but it is something to look for. It's really modern, and these are still in our change, so I included this one. I included a couple red browns for that reason. A 1982, and this one's a large date, and this is a double die FS 101, 34.5. Very important to pay attention to that number. And you want to make sure it looks exactly like this one, because not all of them are equal in value, especially if you have multiple double dice for each date and mint. But you can see this one has some value in the lower grades. Coins that are circulated are harder to identify. It's harder to see them, but it's very important to study first. You get to know what a double die looks like. DoubleDie.com, WexlersDoubleDie.com is a perfect place to learn how a double die occurs and what it's supposed to look like. They also have examples of strike doubling and mechanical doubling on that site. And also air-ref.com is another site to look at. 2004, I included another red brown because it's modern. Still find these in your change. And you can look at the values down here, about 30 bucks. And I'm sure there's some circulated examples. It's not worth as much circulated, but it's something to look for. Then we have the 1984, and this one's a double die FS 101. It's another 84, but it's it's a 039, and it's also the Denver mint mark. This one here, we're starting to increase in value for some of these. In AU, we're looking at in the $30-some range graded. And like I said, I might be going too fast for some people, but you have to pause the video, write down the date, because I actually am only introducing these. I expect people who watch this video to actually want to learn and to actually make some notes, because this is education here. I'm not trying to do it all for you and slow down so everybody's at the same pace. Not everybody is at the same pace. So I'm going at a steady pace here, and I'll kind of pause and talk a little bit. So this is a 1980 double die FS 101 034. And I've got the brown value here at, $35 in AU. Don't see a lot of examples lower than that. Then you have the 83 double die reverse. This is a popular one. Like I said, you can take a look at the pictures to help you identify it. This one's a little more obvious and easy to ID. The value on this one is $55.55 graded. And there's some lower grades listed here that shows a value that it's worth finding. This is a 71 double die verse, and these are a little easier to identify, a little thicker lettering. And in brown, $70 in AU 55 100. So now we're starting to get into some more value, the ones that you most certainly don't want to pass up, or the dates. Let's say you find the date sticks out to you. I show you these because when you see this date, you want to look. You don't want to look at every single date. I don't, because you can spend a lot of time trying to go through coins. If you pick out certain dates that are worth the money when they're circulated like this, and they don't have to have that mint luster, those are the ones that I recommend looking for. So then we have a 1997. This is FS 101 double ear. and this is their 043, and this is red brown, and I'm showing this one because you can still find this one sometimes in circulation. So it's $90.62. A lot of common date double dies. They're worth, $5 anyways, if they're, circulated, lower grades. 1995D, this one is the FS103, and it is worth the most. It's the 041, and obviously it has a Denver Mint mark. It's actually worth some money circulated. AU55 is 110. And it shows you the populations down here as well. Here's a 1966 double die FS101. And in brown condition, I mean, like I said, most of these you're going to find in brown. It's going to be hard to find most of these in red. This one is 135 in AU53. And if you get to the lower grades here, 20 is $50. So this one's most certainly one of them you want to look for. And so are the rest of them here. As we go along, these are going to increase in value. That's how I planned the video out. A 1972 double die verse. This one's a pretty popular one. Like I said, it's kind of hard to mess this one up. It's so obvious. And you just need to understand this is just struck by a double die. It's not double struck or anything like that. It's just struck by a double die. And when we look at the brown values on this one, $325.62. And I'm looking, and circulated, it's still worth some money. I'm not sure why there's not a listing of the circulated, but it's still worth something circulated as well. Here is a 1982, and this is a small date zinc planchet, copper plated. It's a DDR FS 1801. I included this one because it is an 82. You can still see these in change, and it is the red brown. And really, this one's it doesn't have an established value for all of them, but if it's worth $500.63, it's going to be worth something in circulated grades. So this would be one to look for as well. Then you have a 72 double die verse, and this is the FS104. Okay, and that's very important to note because there are probably 35 to 100, who knows how many, of the 72 that are double dies. Okay, there's a lot of them you can find, but there's some of them that are worth more than others. This is the second one that's worth a lot that you should be looking for. So you can see in AU it's $500 and some. The value has gone down, maybe some more have been found, but this was one of them that you should be looking for, definitely. And it's kind of difficult to identify, so you need to study it out. Coppercoins.com has some great images, shows you the die marks and things like that. Now, another thing I want to say, just because it has the die marks doesn't mean it's a double die. It has to be a double die as well before it can be a double die. Let's put it that way. Here's a 1970S. This is a large date, double die verse, large. Like I said, this is brown. It's actually the large date on this one. And over here it shows you a little bit about the double die. It's a good one to find. It's pretty obvious too. And the value on this one is $815.53 plus. 55 is $900. So this one's going to have a value in the lower grades. It's not, no, I don't have it set to show the lower values here. Then, of course, everyone knows this one, the 1969S double die verse. I don't have to tell you how much this thing goes for. It's worth a lot of money. And we're talking, over $10,000 in circulated grade, $17,000. This one is one that, for whatever reason, I don't know how people get this mixed up, but it is so obvious. You have double features here on this coin, and they are the same height. The first squeeze was this height, the second squeeze was this height, and they're rounded, they look doubled. There's no flattening, there's no spreading out, there's no metal flow lines. I mean, this is what it looks like, and it has to look like this. So there's the 21 double dies that I recommend looking for. I did go a little fast. I go at my pace, and you guys just have to pause it, take your notes, write down the exact ones, go over to the resources that I provided for you, and try to help identify these. Good luck. I hope one of you find one of these and put it in my Coin Help You community, and that way we can, congratulations here. So thanks for watching my latest video. Please like, share, comment, and sub my channel, hit that bell, and have a great day.